Hello, welcome to the webinar of today about the frequently asked questions around paradigm shift in fashion, so around the design system and the business model that I have developed. Firstly, I would like to shortly share with you what the structure of the webinar is going to be like, so you know what to expect in the upcoming 30 to 60 minutes. So first of all, I would like to introduce myself so you know who you are listening to. Next to that, we're going to move on to the next session, which is about the answering of the questions. I have selected 5 frequently asked questions, which I'm going to be answering today during this webinar. And we're going to finish the webinar by having a live Q&A session where you can leave your question under the YouTube video or in the Facebook group of Paradigm Shift in Fashion. You can find the link to the Facebook group of Paradigm Shift in Fashion under this video on YouTube as well. So you can click on it and then you will have access to the group as well. So my name is Hasmik Matevosyan. I'm the author of the book Paradigm Shift in Fashion and the creator of Good Fashion Mastery. For the past 5 years, I have been researching the fashion industry to see how it can be improved. So I have looked into sustainability in each step of the fashion chain. I have looked into fashion systems, clothing psychology, design, visual communication, and business models. And from there on, I have developed a solution that I'm going to share with you through a video course called Good Fashion Mastery, and I'm going to talk about it later on. So let me share my screen with you so you can see the presentation, and then we can move on to the 5 questions that I'm going to be answering today. There we go. Let's make it bigger. All right. So the very first question that I would like to give an answer to is, why do you focus on the design and not the production of clothes? This is a question that I received, and I do understand it. I was asked, why do you focus on design and the selling of clothes while the harm for the environment and the workers happens during the production of clothes? In the beginning of my research, I did look into the production of clothes and found many organizations already taking steps towards improvements. But when I looked further, I found that we have 30% overproduction. So 30% of the clothes are unwanted and they do not get sold or worn. And I figured out that if we would keep designing in the same way, but only focus on making the production more sustainable and ethical, we would still have this 30% of production resulting in sustainable waste. That is why I looked into how we can prevent the production of unwanted clothes. I developed a design system that helps fashion brands to get to know their market. This way, they will be able to understand the needs and the desires of their clients, test their designs with them, and eventually only produce the right amount of successful designs. This will save energy and water consumption, transportation, packaging, labor, and more. So by preventing overproduction through design, fashion brands will be able to prevent the waste of resources and over hours for the workers. The next question that I received is very well understandable, and let me explain my answer to it. The question is, can consumers create new things? I can understand this question since I'm saying that the design system helps to have a dialogue with the customers and design based on the needs and the desires of them. But understanding the needs and the desires of the customers, it will indeed help to prevent design mistakes that will cost money, labor, and resources in the production. But asking what the needs and desires are is not the same as asking to design the solution. It is still the designer's role to create and not the consumers. Knowing the people who the clothes are being created for and why they do or do not buy the garments simply helps to focus the creativity and fulfill the full potential of the design. Consumers usually know why they do or do not buy certain clothing. Think of the price of in comparison to the design or quality. Think of practical reasons, such as the wrong fit, the wrong material or color for that person, but also think of the psychological motives, the disappointment that the garment did not make them feel special or beautiful, or the fear of being judged by others. So consumers know why certain clothes do become their favorite ones or why other ones fail to even get bought. This is crucial in a dialogue, because a lot of fashion brands have sales reports. They know what sells and what doesn't sell, but they do not know why something gets sold and whether it is successful and is being worn a lot of times or not. So that's why it is important to ask and to start a dialogue and to understand the needs. In addition, asking customers what their needs are will make them feel heard. That creates a difference between fashion brands who has a conversation with customers and a brand who's only telling them what they have to buy. Having a conversation with customers builds a relationship, and answering their needs and desires adds value to their lives. So eventually, this will lead to cost reduction on seductive communication of the collections through advertisement and fashion shows, because people will already have a reason to buy the clothes once they appear on the market. They will know what the value of these clothes is for them. So to sum up, asking the customers what their needs and desires are helps to focus the creative process, build a market before production, save money on traditional marketing tools, and have a relationship with them. And asking what the needs and desires are is not the same as asking them to develop the solution. So it's always the creative team of the fashion brand that is going to come up with innovation and solutions. The third question that I would like to give an answer to is, what is the paradigm shift about? Well, to answer that question, I would first like to explain what a paradigm shift is. A paradigm shift is a change in the basic assumptions within the ruling theory of the industry. Within the ruling theory. So the ruling theory in fashion is to make profits by producing and selling collections. Collections today are created based on sale reports and the creativity of the design team. Clothes are then marketed with seductive campaigns and offered to consumers, and a fashion brand after production is only hoping that the clothes will sell. The result of this system, however, is, as I mentioned earlier, that we have 30% of the clothes produced ending up unsold, ending up as an overproduction. Yet another 30%, by the way, is only being sold with discounts, which in my opinion is a form of overproduction as well. So having this huge amount of clothes that are being designed and produced and eventually not wanted leads to several things. It leads to financial pressure for fashion brands and retailers. It leads to unfair working conditions for the clothing and textile manufacturers, and it also leads to environmental pollution. The paradigm shift that I'm suggesting is to shift the focus from fashion brands and retailers from making profits to creating value. So it is about shifting the focus from making profits to creating value. By putting the consumer's needs, desires, and feedback as a base for offering clothes, design mistakes and overproduction can be prevented. I also suggest to change the business model. Having a dialogue with customers will help to decrease the marketing expenses and make calculated investments in the production. And the second change is that fashion brands or retailers would not only offer consumers the choice to buy new clothes, but also to borrow or to buy second-hand. So changing the design process and the business model together, so the business model and the design system, will help to achieve the goal of shifting fashion from a harming to a contributing industry. And my goal with the models that I have developed is to have fashion which will be environmentally friendly, ethical, profitable for the fashion brands, and yet attractive and affordable for the consumers. Moving on to the fourth question, which is the following. Isn't social engagement time and cost consuming? Social engagement for a fashion brand or retailer will definitely take time to build, but the reward will be a strong community, focused design process, and customers that will bring in new customers, so word-to-mouth marketing. Creating a relationship takes time, as people first need to get to know you, trust you, and accept the contribution you want to deliver in their lives. The time spent on getting to know the target audience will help to deliver greater value with the money and time that you are planning to spend. So the tools for social engagement are for free and will even save you money on the unnecessary expensive communication later on. To name a tool, social media has made it very easy to connect with people without having to spend money on the communication. As you can see, I am a living example of this. Depending on how big the community is of a fashion brand, it can take a fashion brand or a retailer, for that matter, several hours a week or several hours a day to build social engagement. But when you know who the client is, what they are missing in today's offer of clothes, what their experience with the brand or the retailer is like, you can start improving from that point on. Knowing the target audience will help to deliver greater value for the money and time spent, and it will also help not to make mistakes and produce clothes that will end up unsold or neglected in the wardrobes of customers. So when consumers have found a company that is offering them clothes and accessories that help them to feel confident, comfortable, and attractive in their daily lives, they're going to stick to that fashion brand. They're going not only to stick to that fashion brand, but also tell about it to their friends, colleagues, family members. And as you know, word-to-mouth marketing is one of the strongest marketing campaigns that there is. And the result will be more clients who, when they are satisfied with the value that the company has delivered in their lives, will tell more people about the company. And the community of the fashion brand will keep growing bigger and bigger naturally. The last question that I would like to discuss with the presentation is the following. Can sustainability and economy be combined? For that, again, I would like to define what sustainability is and what economy is, and then from there on I will continue to answering and explaining my answer. Sustainability is about the quality of not being harmful to the environment or depleting natural resources, and thereby supporting long-term ecological balance. Economy is about the efficient, sparing, or concise use of something. So those two can very well be combined. Sustainability is about not being harmful and supporting long-term ecological balance, and economy is about efficient, sparing, and concise use of something. One of the mistakes that I'm solving with the design system and the ongoing research is to prevent overproduction. Overproduction is a waste of financial and environmental resources. What I'm working towards is to achieve a growing financial profit for fashion brands, maintain and stimulate biodiversity, and achieve a better quality of life for the manufacturers and for the consumers. So I strongly believe that it is possible to have a win-win-win situation. The profit of a fashion brand would grow if the brand knew how to prevent overproduction. I have written a blog explaining this step by step a couple of months ago, which you can find on my website. If the fashion brands would also change their business models, as I am suggesting, they would even be able to multiply their profit. That could be the case if they would, for example, stop with the discount system that we have today and rather switch to a system in which they sell new clothes for the full consumer price, loan clothes through, for example, a clothing library concept, and sell second-hand clothes of their brand with discount. That will lead to extra profits, and a part of that extra profit can be invested in improving the fashion production chain, and another part of it can be invested in services towards the consumers. So I would like to wrap up my presentation by asking you to support the crowdfunding of Good Fashion Mastery on Indiegogo. Good Fashion Mastery is going to be a video course with 10 videos, 2.5 hours of information, where I'm giving you all the findings of the past 5 years, so of the research that I've been working on for the past 5 years. I will explain to you step by step how you can implement the design system that I have developed in your brand. I will give you a planning. I will explain how the business model works, so you can start implementing parts from the design system and the business model step by step in your own brands, and that will help you to become more sustainable and to have more profit. The campaign is running for yet another 7 days, and you can find it on Indiegogo by searching for Good Fashion Mastery. And if you help me to develop it, then I promise to offer you as much value as possible. Okay, let me stop sharing the screen, and I'm really looking forward to moving on to the live Q&A session. I have a screen open next to me where I can see your questions on YouTube and also on in the Facebook group. And let's see if somebody has posted a question already. Not yet. So let me know if you have any questions. Was I clear about what I've been talking about? Do you have anything that you didn't understand yet? Are there other aspects that you're thinking about? One of the questions that I can answer already right now is that the video course of Good Fashion Mastery is going to be available in September. I'm almost there with the sum that I need to develop it on Indiegogo. And then if everything goes right, I will be filming it in August, and I will be able to deliver it to you in September. It is going to be a free course for everybody, because my goal is to share the findings with as many fashion brands as possible. And from there on, based on your feedback on how you can implement the system, whether it works for your small brands, medium, big brands, or an international one, I can develop the system that I have created until now to fit your needs much better. So it's basically going to be an open source collaboration to keep developing it, since it is an ongoing research. Well, let me see if there is a question yet. I don't see a question. I will be waiting for another 5 minutes. And if you think of something, post it. And otherwise, you can always post it in the Facebook group. So I will get back to it another time as well. I see there's a question from David. The question is, hi Hasmik, how would this system cope with the strict production time of the modern fashion industry? It is the system from, I have a planning with it, and the way it works is that it's going to take something like 2 weeks extra for testing the designs. But at the same time, I'm also helping the fashion brands to cut the time needed on discussing whether the samples are good enough or not. So I have looked into the planning of a fashion brand from the very beginning of having a range plan until the moment that is being marketed and sold. And the system that I have developed is going to only take 2 weeks extra. So it is, I believe that it is possible in theory, but it needs to be tested in practice before I can be fully correct with my answer. It is a good question, by the way, which I'm going to be answering with a video course where I'm going to be giving planning of how a collection is being designed today and how I'm suggesting to design a collection and to market it with the design system that I have developed. There is a second question that I also just received, which is from Annalisa. Hi Hasmik, thank you very much for the webinar and for your book, but both really useful. Thank you. I'm glad to read that. I have a question about brands that are starting out, so with no customers base already. Is it something very complex to get to know the target customers precisely? Do you have any suggestions about this? Yes. At the very beginning, as you probably have read in my book, I was talking about the sweatpants that we have developed together with a partner. We didn't know the markets at all. The only thing that we knew was that we wanted to make ideal sweatpants for people. And to create ideal sweatpants, we thought, well, we need to ask experts who are wearing them a lot of times. And we first of all focused on parkour runners, so free runners. And we looked on Facebook, on LinkedIn, at different groups to see how we can get in touch with them. And we found several Facebook groups that was our communication channel to get in touch with them. And we posted a questionnaire, first of all, to get to know what their frustrations are and what their needs are, what their budget is when it comes to sweatpants. By the way, about understanding the needs and desires of customers, yesterday I did a webinar about the 10 mistakes that you can prevent when listening to the needs and desires that you can still watch on YouTube. So when we're done with this webinar, you can move on to that one and see how you can do that. To the first questionnaire, 150 people reacted, and they really thought along with us. They were happy that we were putting so much effort into developing the ideal sweatpants for them. So they were more than willing to share what their frustrations were and what their needs were, how they wear sweatpants and so on. From there on, we had a base of 150 people, which got to know us prior to the fact that we even started designing clothes. The second step of the design system then was applied, where based on the needs and desires as guidelines, we developed several visuals of how the sweatpants could look. And we also made a questionnaire of that and posted it in the groups, but also at that point we already developed our own Facebook page, and we also posted it on that one. And again, something like 150 people from 5 countries thought along with us. They helped us to develop sweatpants that would fit their expectations, and they also helped us to prevent many design mistakes that we would make otherwise. So we were 2 people who didn't know the market at all. We just started listening, first of all, then we gave design suggestions, and the third step of the design system is to actually test the sweatpants with people, so to test the products with people. For that, we didn't even have a web shop yet, but we were able to sell our early bird deal, 20 sweatpants, within 2 hours on Facebook. So we were a fashion brand who didn't start yet, and we were already able to sell our sweatpants because people knew what the added value of our products was going to be for them. So to wrap it up, even when you are starting fashion brands, you first need to define who your target audience is. So look at the demographics, describe the demographics. Look at the lifestyle of what you expect of your target audience to be like. So lifestyle, you can also think of what kind of magazines or newspapers or things are they reading that you can use to communicate with them. And third part is to understand their problem or the pain that you're going to solve with your product. For that, you need to implement the design system to actually start a dialogue and not start designing based on assumptions. All right, let me see if there's another question. Yes, Annalise, you are asking, do you think a similar approach can be applied to luxury fashion too? Definitely. It's definitely applicable to luxury fashion. It depends from your target audience, what kind of a communication medium you can use. So maybe for luxury fashion, you shouldn't use Facebook, but maybe you should use certain shops through which you can get in touch with women or men that are within your target audience. Maybe you have people in your network through which you can get in personal contact. So I would suggest for you, if you're going to create luxury fashion, to have a personal contact, interview people if it's necessary, instead of questionnaires. let me see on YouTube whether there are questions there as well. On YouTube, we don't have questions, and as I can see on Facebook, we're done as well. I will give it another 2 minutes because there's always a delay of 30 seconds to 60 seconds from the moment that I'm talking until the moment that you are receiving the webinar. And then I would like to wrap up and to thank you for your time. All right. So thank you a lot. If you have any other questions, ask them in the Facebook group. I will get back to you. And please help me to spread the word about Good Fashion Mastery by sharing the link with your network. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.